Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel here at the Canva Cafe. It is me, Bakisa, and of course I've been missing in action because like I said, I'm a nurse and I've been busy. So here's a quick, well maybe not so quick, tutorial for a back to school flyer. And remember, you can substitute back to school for anything else. It's not written in stone. But before we do this, I'm also going to recommend making a scrap page. I always like to make a scrap page so that I have all my elements ready to go. So you would just brainstorm all the things you think you would need for your flyer and make a scrap page. And I'm also going to click each one so you can see the names of what I'm using in case you want to also use them. And once again, excuse my manly voice. I've been working 16-hour shifts and I'm tired, but I want to get this tutorial out for you guys. And I'm so sorry that I don't come more often, but I'm trying to become more consistent. So like I said, as I click them, you'll see what the names are of the elements, just in case you want to use them to follow along in this tutorial. So just take a screenshot, pause, or write it down, whatever you need to do. And I hope y'all had an amazing summer, even though summer isn't over. I did go to Miami because I am from Miami, and we had our alumni class picnic for high school. Miami Northwestern, go Bulls, Bull Pride. And I may insert a pic or two from a few of my little summer little summer excursions, and I use that word lightly, excursions. Now this particular picture I did not get from Canva. I did Google it. I Googled gold rulers, and you'll see how I adjust it later. So sometimes if you can't find it in Canva, you can always do a Google search and just upload the image. So we're going to start off with a blank canvas, and we're using that locker background, and I'm just going to cut everything out of it that I don't want, and I'm going to make it to size. And you can place it wherever you want. You can fill the whole background with it if you like, but I was just using more of the top portion, and I'm just stretching it out by using the little corners, and I'm going to pull it out. And as you can see, I have probably other scrap pages on here also if I don't edit it out. So now I'm just going to turn the transparency down to about 24. You can do it as much as or as little as you like. I just turn it down just enough to get a hint of the lockers, but not doing too much. And now I'm going to search the blur. And it's the blur that you're able to change the colors to. So I'm going to click the color. And then I'm also going to click that rainbow color picker type of thing, for lack of a better word. And you can also click photos, and it'll show you all the photos that's on your page. And I have 11 things on here. So I already know I want to do blue to match with the particular image we're going to use. If not, you can go back up and click the color rainbow thing again and click, well, right here I'm just changing the intensity of it, but you could also click the little dropper pen down there and choose any color on your page. So I'm just going to line it up here because I wanted a little pop of color and to also tie in the other elements that's on the page. And I'm just going to stretch it out and semi-center it. And if you hear other noises in the background, there's people outside. They ain't got nothing to do with me. So now from my scrap page, I'm applying this picture frame because I thought it would be cute to showcase our images. And I try to blow up the screen as much as I can to help you guys see what I'm doing and also be able to see what I'm doing. And y'all don't realize how hard it is to do this voiceover while watching to see what I'm doing, because I'm like, hey, what am I doing? So I'm just putting this exactly where I want it, and I'm going to stretch it out according to the size of the images I want to put in there. But because I want people to be able to see the images, I'm going to make the frames, as large as I possibly can within the frame of our page. So I'm just pulling the corners, and that's how you expand the frame or any image. Just pull the corners. So now I'm going to use another blur element in the black. I'm going to use it to soften the edges. And I think I need to pick my voice up because I'm listening to the voiceover as I'm editing and I sound tired. I am so sorry. So anyway, as we pull it out, we always have to pull at the top too to get rid of that harsh line. And I'm going to play around with deciding to put the blur behind the image because I want to blur out the locker. So if you can see up close, I don't know if I pull it up any closer, the locker where it stops, I can see a harsh edge. So I'm using that black blur to blend it out, and then I'm going to also duplicate it and use the black blur to also blend out a little bit of the picture frame at the bottom. So I'm just playing around with the alignment of the blur. Like I said, I'm trying to blur out the locker edges in the back, and I'll probably zoom in a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. And I did zoom in. So I'm just playing around, like I said, with where I'm blurring out the edges of the locker, and then also I'm going to duplicate the blur just so I can lightly blur out the edges of the picture frame, just to add a little softness and a little subtleness to my picture frame. It's all in the details. And these photos I actually got off of Instagram. The Instagram IG is artificially alluring, and they're AI images, so they're not real people. So all I'm doing now is just sizing them to fit the frames like I wanted to. And we'll just do that to all of the frames. And once I size them, I'm going to position them behind the frames so that they'll look more clean and neat and polished. So now I'm going to stretch and reposition the picture behind the frame so that I can get the exact portion of the image that I want. And you can also do that by selecting the crop button and using that to crop and reposition your photo. And when I get through, I am going to blow up the screen so I can see all the details. And I suggest that you also blow up your screen when you're working with small details so you can be more precise. And I'm just going to speed up the other frames, and all I'm doing is sizing the ladies and allowing them to fit in the frame and put them behind the frame and just make the adjustments so that they're centered accordingly. And once again, I'm going to select the position button and press the picture backwards. And you can see the difference it makes when it's behind the frame. And then I'm going to center it and align it properly within the frame. Now you may notice that the picture now becomes a little bit too big for the frame now that it's behind the frame. But all you have to do is just crop it and cut it so that it fits perfectly within the frame. Now that we're done with that, we're going to move on to adding the words. And so I clicked them before and you're able to see the name of the elements I use. So I'm going to find every letter that I need to make the word school or whatever other word you want to make. And I'm going to do it on a scrap page. That way I can put all the letters together, make sure that they're all the same size, and group them together. So as you can see, that's what I searched, and all I did was change out the letter S for whatever letter I wanted to find, so that I'm able to spell what I want to spell. But as you can see, they have a variety of other colors and other combinations, and this is just the one I chose to use. And in case you weren't able to see it, it's called Font Gold 3D Render. And like I said, you would just put the letter or the number in front of that word before you search it in the search box. I hope that was helpful. So because all my letters are too big and I won't have enough room on the page, eventually I'll group all the letters together and shrink them so that I can make space for all the other letters. So once I add the other letter, to make sure everything is on the same line, once I click it and I try to line it up, you'll see where all the letters, not the letters, all the lines at the bottom will turn a solid red line. So that way you know that they're all aligned. And what I do to make sure all the letters are the same, I may start from the bottom line and make sure that, see how that L will line up at the bottom. There'll be a red line, and then I go from the top and line up the top where all the red lines pop up, so I know that they're all the same size. And I do believe I made the H bigger just for a little fun. So I'll group everything together once I have all the words the way I like them, and now I will add them to my page. And now I'm going to add some text. This is where you would type with whatever you want. I wrote, I don't know what I wrote until I see it being written now. What did I write? Y'all have to pardon me because I could barely see the video as I do the voiceover. There it goes. Back to, and then school, and whatever else I'm going to write on the other side. I'm just going back and forth to refer to my previous flyer. And like I said, I am tired. I worked 2 16-hour shifts back to back, and I am tired, y'all. But I'm going to have to work out a schedule where I can post at least once a week like I intended to do. But my kids are out for the summer, and so I've been working so I can get this back to school money together. And I can't see the font I use, but as the whole time that I'm typing, you'll see up in the left-hand corner what the name of the font I'm using in case that's a font you want to use. Now, here's something I want to also point out. When you're typing, make your text box long if you want all the words to fit in the text box. Otherwise, they will fall below each other like it just did, and I pull the text box out to let all the words fit on that one line. And I'll also show another example of it when I'm getting ready to type the website at the bottom. So now I'm getting ready to add the rest of our decorative elements. So as you can see, I like to start off with my background first and add my photos of whatever it is we're selling, and then I add the wordage afterwards. So I usually write my words, like I said, on a scrap sheet of paper. That way I can edit it without messing up the rest of my photos and the rest of my elements on the page. Although you can lock them so that they don't move. But I like to write everything on a separate sheet of paper, on a separate page, and then group them together and then place them on my flyer. So now we're going to add a little fun to the elements. I'm going to hit the shadow effect and use the glow, and I'm going to change the color to match it with our page. So I'm going to get a color that's like the girl's shirt, and what I'll end up doing is clicking that rainbow thing and using the ink dropper and hover over a color. I guess I use the background color, and I use the glow effect. And here you can play around with the transparency. So I pull it all the way up. You can do it to 100% or whatever you want, so that way you can have maximum color payoff. And then you can play around with the blur and the size of the outline behind it. So I'm just showing you what it looks like when you play around with it. So it just depends on your personal preference. And I'll be using this effect to almost all of the images that I'm going to add, all the little fun elements, just to pull in the color. And that's the way of pulling in colors that's on your flyer. I feel like my I've been going up and down while I'm doing this voiceover. 1 minute I sound tired, and the next minute I just burst out in laughter because I guess I realized, Kisa, wake up for everybody. Come on, everybody don't want to listen to you halfway sleep and be tired. So once again, pardon me, I am sleepy. I'm just typing out our website, and this is what I was referring to later on. I'm pulling out the space so I have enough room, and I'm doing that because I want to separate the letters and have the letters be stretched out, and I have to make enough space inside of the text box. So I do that by pulling the space on either side. So I'm going to show you, if you make the text box shorter and you try to expand the letters are going to fall underneath each other like you see it here. So to avoid that, you have to pull the text box out to allow space for the letters to fit. So now I'm just pulling it out even more because I'm going to want my words to extend across the page a little bit more. And remember, it depends also on the size of the font you're using. So if my font is bigger, then I'm going to have to make more space. And if it's bigger, of course, it's not going to fit on our flyer. So now I shrunk my font. That was kind of hard to say. I shrunk my font. So because I shrunk it, I have more space inside of my text box to expand my letters. So you can choose to do that, which I'm going to do right here. So now you see I have space to stretch my letters out because I expanded my text box and decreased the size of my font. And we're going to finish adding more of our elements, which I already have over here on my scratch page. And once again, this one I got from my Google search. So I'm just cropping out the rest of the image because I didn't want all of that. I searched gold rulers or golden rulers because we're making more of a glam flyer and I wanted a gold ruler. And I couldn't find it in Canva. It probably was there, but I just got impatient. So I'm cutting out the extra. And now I'm going to use the background remover to remove all the extra stuff. And once I do that, I'm going to apply the same treatment that I did to the other element, which is the glow background. And then I'm going to add the color, the same blue color. And sometimes when I remove the background from an image, I duplicate it because if I do something that I don't like, I don't want to have to keep going in reverse or redo everything. So whenever you take out the background, duplicate the image maybe once or twice so you have an extra one, because then that way you can try it with different colors and different things, so then you can see which one you like before you decide which one you want to place on your flyer. That's why there are 2 rulers there, not 1 but 2. And ordinarily I probably would have 4 or 5 with 4 or 5 different color effects. and trying to decide which one I want to use because I am so extra. So like I said, I'm just going to add the color effect to all of these elements. I'm just cutting out the background so I can get this credit card by itself. And I'm going to add that glow effect. So just watch. Everything else is kind of self-explanatory. Let me know if I could explain anything a little bit better. And if you have any questions, please leave it down in the comments. I do read my comments, and I am trying to get out more videos that relate to some of the questions you guys have or some tutorials you want to see. So I am working on other videos as fast as I can, I promise. Or if I'm not fast enough, you can drop me a message, and you can always book a one-on-one with me. I love doing one-on-ones. It'll be on a Zoom. You share your screen and I share mine, and I could talk you through whatever you're working on. So just check the link in my bio for my one-on-ones. And here I'm just zooming in a little bit so you can see some of the details. So I'll try to zoom in every now and then so you could see what everything is looking like, because I know it's hard to see, I guess, depending on your monitor. So yeah. And I'm just going to my scrap page again, grabbing my elements. It's so much easier to design. Like I said, once you make yourself a scrap page and put all the elements that you're going to be using on that one page, that way you have them to refer to. And in case I didn't go over how you make the scrap page, because I don't want to rewind my voiceover to know if I said it or not, just once you design, go to the elements and just brainstorm and click and add them to a blank page. Everything you would think to use in reference to your flyer that you're making. If you're making a birthday flyer, research everything in the elements tab that refers to a birthday, whether it be balloons, cakes, candles, and just put a bunch of elements that you like on that one page. Narrow it down to the few that you are going to use. That way you can just go ahead and start designing. So now I'm just moving everything up to my flyer, all the elements that I've already added the effects to, and I'm just positioning them where I like. And I try to group elements that make sense together, which the ruler, I'm just keeping it over there on the side with the frame with the pictures. And then when I do the credit card, I'm going to put it over there by where it says special and the price, because the bunny and the credit card, they go together. They go together real bad. I added the gold pen because, like I said, this is a glam flyer. And you could kind of leave it right there. But, you know, you could play around with where you want it. You don't want to junk up the page too much. So I'm going to shrink it, and I'm just going to point it to what the what am I trying to say, to the wordage on the flyer, because it's kind of like a pointer, like, hey, read this. So you use your elements to play on the things that are going on your flyer, and it also makes it look like I wrote it with the pencil or the pen. Well, I didn't think about that before when I was doing it, but you know, in the voiceover I did think about this part. And you don't have to put the whole pen in there. You can back it out a little bit just so you can see just a little tip of it. You know, everything is subjective. It's to your own liking. And as you see, I did also put that graffiti, or no, confetti on there to add a little dimension, a little, you know, fun. And I made sure it was kind of in front of everything. So once I put the credit card, I'll probably put it behind, so it'll be behind the confetti. And I move this credit card around 11 times. I move it around as much as I do in real life, swiping and purchasing. I've got issues. Yeah. So I also use this cute little flare. I think you can find it on the gold flare or lens flare, and I added it to everything almost everything that was gold to make it look like it was blinging. So once again, it's all in the details. So I just duplicate it and I will put it on the portion of the element that in your mind, if the sun or the light was reflecting, it would be reflecting off of that side. So I try to keep everything on the same side so it makes sense. So if I'm putting it on the, I guess this is my left side, that means all the elements, when I put them, they'll be on the left side, as to infer that the light is coming from the left side. I know y'all didn't need that part of the tutorial, but I just felt it was necessary to say that. And once again, I did want to get this flyer out earlier, but like I said, I had some back to school of my own. We had our high school alumni class picnic, and I will insert a few pictures and don't judge me. I graduated in class of 92, so it is what it is. Now I decided to add this hello summer, but then when I thought about it, back to school is usually fall, so I probably should have used something that said hello fall, but I didn't think about it till now. I'm sorry. I'm going to insert a few images from my class alumni picnic, Bull Pride. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. Don't forget to leave any comments or future videos down in the comment section.